In this video I'm going to be discussing with you whether drop actually makes a difference on a running shoe. What is up everybody, and welcome to my science lab here at FORDY Runs HQ. We are going very scientific in this video because we're going to be discussing the drop on our running shoes. Okay, so a bit of a spoiler alert, I'm not a doctor and I have absolutely no background in what I'm talking about whatsoever. So everything that I'm going to say today could be completely wrong, so be very gentle with me in those comments. So basically, I was thinking to myself, because I've got the, hang on, where are they? So I've got the Brooks Ghost right here, which has got a 12mm drop, and I've got the Glide Ride, which has got 5mm drop from memory. And I was actually thinking to myself, how much difference does drop actually make? Right, so firstly, let's talk about what drop is. It's like the heel to toe, and I'll put a diagram up on the screen, right? And certain shoes have different drops on them. You've probably heard many of us shoe reviewers talking about it, and I would say the common point or the midpoint is about that 8 to 10mm drop, right? So that's where most of the shoes are, but you do get other ends of the spectrum like 5mm, 12mm, and you also get the stuff like 0 drop, okay, which is like all that natural foot strike and all that sort of stuff. Okay, again, I'm not going too deep in terms of science on this video. I want to actually talk about how I felt running in both, and this is where it comes down to. I want to know in the comments, do you notice a difference in drop if you change drop? Do you notice a shoe that has a high drop or a low drop? And do you make your shoe buying or shoe purchases based around drop? Let me know in the comments. That's what I want to get out of this video. The stuff that I'm going to talk about is probably absolute nonsense. What I want to know from you is those points, yeah? How much of a difference does drop make to you? How much does it impact your purchase? And that kind of stuff. Because as I say, that's what I'm interested to get out of this video. I'm going to talk about how I find the differences between these two, and we'll come on to that in just a sec. But please, get in the comments and let's start a convo. Okay, so I did a little bit of research for this video and I found some interesting things, right? So firstly, I'm just going to read this out to you. So a lower drop shoe may be better for knee and hip injuries, while a higher drop shoe may be better for foot, Achilles, tendon and calf injuries. Now, I'm quoting this is not me giving this advice. Always check you're not going from, now I know this, that you're not going from too high a drop to a too low a drop, because you do need to transition down, okay, because it will impact you differently. I know that exactly, myself, sorry. So yeah, too big a drop reduction in drop, e.g., 8 to 10 to a 0 to 2, that could just lead to real troubles. Recipe for foot, Achilles, tendon or calf overload injury. A lot of people like to have multiple shoes on the go and use lower drop shoes for some sessions and higher drop shoes for others. Distance running is a highly repetitive loading activity, which we know, so variation is a good thing. So according to this, having a few shoes with different drops is actually a good thing. Okay, so there are a couple of bits that I nicked off the internet, which I think again should spark hopefully a conversation down in the comments. Right, now let's get on to how I found, or if I found, a difference between a 12mm drop and a 5mm drop. Okay, so in the Brooks, which has got the 12mm drop, I do feel a little bit like that, but I don't notice it once I really get running, if that makes any sense. So once I get deeper into a run, that sort of feeling does go away, that it's got, you know, quite a high drop on it. I do kind of notice it when I put them on. Bear in mind, most of my shoes are like an 8 to 10mm drop, but once I get running, I don't really notice it. And it's the kind of same thing with the Glide Ride with its 5mm drop. I just better check that, yeah, it's 5mm drop. It kind of feels flat when I put it on, but once I get running in it, it doesn't really feel any different. So I don't particularly notice much of a difference between the drops on these shoes. I really don't, to be honest with you. And they're two arguable daily trainers, but I don't feel like I'm sensitive to drop. Now that may be just me, that may be just me being an idiot, that I haven't got a clue, because I haven't got a particularly good running style. In fact, I haven't got a good running style, I'm not particularly fast, you know, I'm just a hobby jogger, so, you know, what do I know? But for me, I don't really notice much difference in these two shoes. Now both of these shoes I've gone long in, and again, I've not really noticed any difference after those runs. You know, 20 miles, or what was it? And I'm trying to think. 16 miles in the Brooks Ghost. Again, when I finished, I didn't feel like any different in any of my muscles. Again, maybe it's just my mind, but I didn't feel like there was a noticeable difference after the runs in these shoes going long. They're not fast shoes at all. So the only comment I can make in terms of speed, noticing the difference, is I was doing some goal work in them in the past, where I was like 8:30 per mile, 8:35 per mile. But again, didn't really notice any difference. So for me, I don't know what all the... This is good. You're going to get killed. I know what all the fuss is about. I know some people are sensitive to it, and that's why I wanted to get out of the video. Are you sensitive to drop in the shoe? I'm not, it appears. I don't really notice much. I feel like I can transition between these two quite well. 12 to 5 is a lot. Yeah, most of my shoes are 8 to 10. So again, I don't really notice a difference between, you know, these two at the end of the spectrum. But it's quite interesting, isn't it? So look, it's over to you guys now. Tell me, are you sensitive to drop? Does it make any difference to you? Have you got any advice? Have you got any tips about drop? Like I said, for me, I'm not sensitive to it. Doesn't seem to make any difference to me. I don't know whether, you know, whether I should be in a 5 or a 10 or a 12 or whatever, because I seem to be able to run in all of them. Yeah, so I've definitely not added any value. I know that in this video, but the point is I need you to add the value. Get in those comments and start telling us what you think about the drop on a shoe. Okay, right, that's it from me, guys. I'll catch you later.